Domestic abuse affects women around the world, and over 155 countries have adopted laws against it. But these measures haven't necessarily stopped the problem, like in Ghana. Despite adopting its Domestic Violence Act in 2007, cultural norms remain a major obstacle. But in the north of the country, some women are helping each other resist the threat, as DW's Maxwell Sook reports.
This woman doesn't want to share her real name. Her husband has often beaten her.
I wasn't born with a broken finger. I got it because my husband beat me. I wasn't born with half an ear. It's the result of the repeated violence I was subjected to at home. I almost lost my ear, and it's all because of poverty.
Women worldwide who are trapped with violent husbands cannot live if they can't support themselves economically. The problem is worse in rural communities where traditional values still dominate. Abagna Patience is part of a network counseling local women.
In this community, most of our men feel they are superior over us. And because women are lacking the skills when it comes to market or when it comes to job, and they got married to the men who are working, they feel they are more than the women.
Lamisi tried to leave her husband 3 times before she met Patience, who advised her to report him to the police. But she's facing opposition from the community.
If I take him to the police station, my fellow woman will mock me and say a good woman should not do it. They will tell you every woman must endure pain and abuse, so why take him to police?
This tacit social acceptance makes it hard for outsiders to get men to stop.
These women are women who don't even know where to go and who to talk to because of how the society has taken everything to be. They can't, even if they tell the client head or maybe they are elders, they feel that, oh, this is something you can settle among yourselves. Meanwhile, these women go through emotional trauma. So me being a lady, when they come to me, they are free to express their feelings and comfortable to talk to.
The United Nations says a quarter of Ghanaian women suffer domestic abuse. The people helping to empower them say it will take more than a change in traditional beliefs. Only economic independence can help women escape gender-based violence.
Let's get more on this now from Jawharatu Amadou from Rise Ghana. That's a human rights and sustainable development organization. Thank you for joining us on the program, Jawharatu. Now, looking at this issue of domestic abuse, is this any worse in rural areas in Ghana as compared to urban centers?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Domestic violence in Ghana is high. I think report has it that 1 in every 3 women ever experience domestic violence, especially intimate partner violence. And this is worse when it comes to the rural settings from Upper East region. Last year in 2022, the Dosu unit of the police service recorded 123 cases of intimate partner violence in the Upper East region. And these are reported cases. And data also has it that only 9% of women report domestic violence. So that means that these 123 cases are the 9% of the cases that were reported. That means that going to rural settings is higher because in our rural settings, domestic violence, especially intimate partner violence, don't get reported because of our and other gender norms in their communities.
Yeah, I was just going to get you to expound on it. Why is it that these cases are not being reported if they're as widely prevalent as we're talking about?
When it comes to domestic violence in our culture, it is seen as private matters of the home. And so it is not supposed to be heard outside the home. So women who are being abused in the domestic settings see it as a normal part of life. If you are with your intimate partner and it's an insult or a beating or a little economic violence, that is normal. Every woman goes through in her marriage. So why should you let somebody outside your home hear about this case? And also the little number that gets reported because they cannot bear it anymore or it's a threat to their life, and so they are being advised to report. These people are also being stigmatized. Some also with the threat of divorce or they leaving the communities. So women who get to report domestic violence cases are being insulted either by friends, by family members. And so they feel that, no, this is normal. And if I go ahead to report, this is how I will be seen by people in my community. And so they don't report.
How then can such women be helped when trapped in such abusive relationships?
So the challenge also is that services available for domestic violence survivors is far away from our communities. We are talking about rural settings. When you come to the Upper East region, the social service institutions are placed at the district level. So a woman who even wants to report will have to travel like 50 or 20 kilometers to get access to these institutions. And so it's not available for her to report. And some who even go ahead to get to these institutions feel like there's no confidentiality. They don't trust the system because of the delay in how they handle their cases and then how they are being received. Some of the service providers don't have experience on how to counsel survivors of violence. And so to help these women, I think that our institution need to train some people who are counselors, who are able to counsel survivors of domestic violence. And the distance between the women and the services needs to be reduced. We should have institutions who have representation somewhere near the communities, or they do outreaches in these communities. They should have hotlines available so that if a woman is being abused and feel that she needs to report urgently and cannot get to this institution, it will just be a phone call away, then she would be helped.
Okay. Jawharatu Amadu of Rise Ghana, thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you too for having me, and thank you to your listeners.
So let's continue the conversation now with Eric Tenkorang, a sociology professor who joins us from Newfoundland in Canada. And he's a Harry Frank Guggenheim Foundation grant receiver researching the link between lineage and domestic abuse. Welcome to the program, Professor. What have you found so far in your research?
We are trying to actually look at these violence across two lineage groups in Africa, patrilineal and matrilineal groups. What we find is that patrilineal women are disadvantaged. And when I say disadvantaged, what it means is that they are more likely to experience intimate partner abuse compared to matrilineal women. Not only are they more likely to experience intimate partner abuse, but the severity of the abuse is really high in patrilineal societies compared to matrilineal societies. And also the frequency of the abuse is also very, very high in patrilineal societies compared to matrilineal societies. The other finding that we've seen on this project is that matrilineal women's access to socioeconomic resources really protects them from intimate partner abuse compared to patrilineal women. We think this finding is, although expected, is very, very important because it feeds into this narrative, right? That having access to socioeconomic resources can be a buffer or can protect women against intimate partner abuse. Right,
and patrilineal, we're talking about male-dominated, and matrilineal, female-dominated settings.
Sure.
But of your findings, how can this translate into policy implementation in Ghana, for example?
Policy implementation, well, I think as an academic, I've always thought that, public policy is very, very important. And I say this mainly because all around the world, you find that there is a move to criminalizing, domestic violence and intimate partner violence. I live in Canada, and I can tell you that there is zero tolerance towards intimate partner abuse. I'm very, very happy that in Ghana we are doing the same, because we do have, a Domestic Violence Act that criminalizes the, perpetrators of intimate partner violence. We in terms of policy, what we have several plans that we have rolled out to be able to do this, and I think one of the major plans is to be able to engage stakeholders in the country. One of such stakeholders in the country to be able to do this. When I say stakeholders, what I mean is the people who are actually survivors of intimate partner violence themselves become a very strong voice in pushing an agenda, to affect policy.
You talked about needing to educate women, in particular, in parts of Ghana. Can you explain more about that?
On this project, we have decided to hold seminars and workshops, in affected communities that where we are finding that there are high rates of intimate partner abuse. We believe that these types of education would be important, because through this we will be able to highlight to women some of the discriminatory gender norms that increase their vulnerabilities to intimate partner abuse. And because we are also finding on this project that socioeconomic access to socioeconomic resources are important. I think there are plans for us to be able to help women develop strategies or help provide socioeconomic opportunities that can help women who are in the margins, come out of this problem.
Okay. Professor Eric Tenkorang, Professor of Sociology at Memorial University in Canada, thank you very much for your time.